Hi everyone, Dr. D here, author of Beyond Medicine, Exploring a New Way of Thinking. And today we're going to explore a new way of thinking about a common disorder called cholesterol. Now, over the years, cholesterol has escalated in terms of being an item that is frequently evaluated by all physicians and included as part of what's considered to be a risk factor protocol or profile for cardiovascular disease. And today we want to explore another way of looking at cholesterol because of the role that it plays in so many different areas of the body that are actually vital and necessary. But we also want to explore what the other possibilities might be for cholesterol being elevated to begin with, and whether or not it's really a risk factor for cardiovascular disease, and what other things might be causing the cholesterol to be elevated other than the genetics and the diet. Well, as you all know, cholesterol plays a vital role in the formation of a lot of the brain neurology, plays a vital role in the formation of the sex hormones, and it provides a fundamental basis for the development of a lot of raw materials in the body that the body uses to actually repair and regenerate various organs, systems, tissues, etc., throughout the entire body. Now, cholesterol, as you have all heard, can come from diet, and it can come from genetic tendencies for it to be elevated. But one of the things that's frequently overlooked is the role that cholesterol plays in protecting the cardiovascular system from an excessive acidic burden that's accumulated by the body. Now, in a previous video, I discussed the fact that the body is an acid-producing machine. And this simply means that in response to everything the human body comes in contact with, it produces a biochemical waste product in the form of a very caustic acid that has to be eliminated every 24 hours, or it has to be stored. In order for this acid to be stored, it has to be buffered or neutralized. In order to be neutralized, the body has to use mineral reserves either from the diet or use mineral reserves in the form of calcium and phosphorus from the bone, setting that individual up for the eventual diagnosis of osteoporosis. Now, what if this cholesterol is being produced as part of a defense mechanism on the part of the body to buffer it from the acidic effects of the stored acid, which are not being eliminated every 24 hours, either because there are a lack of raw materials to eliminate it, or it's being produced in excess of the body's ability to eliminate it on a 24-hour basis. What if the liver, in response to this excessive acidic burden, elevates the production of cholesterol to protect the cardiovascular system, and as a result of that, actually narrows the interior wall of the vessels of the cardiovascular system, producing a secondary increase in blood pressure and putting you at additional risk for cardiovascular disease, not simply because the cholesterol is present, but because the cholesterol is being produced as a result of an underlying problem that is not being identified and addressed. Let me explain it in a little different way. We have this excessive acidic burden in storage. That excessive acidic burden produces a pressure on the more sensitive vessels in the body, particularly of the cardiovascular system. It produces a burden, an acidic pressure that causes corruption and corrosion in the exterior walls of the vessels that allow them to begin to crack and become fragile. In response to this, the body increases the production of cholesterol in the liver and delivers it to the interior walls as a form of plaquing or a protective device, sort of like you would use spackle on a crack in a wall to protect the vessel from becoming overly fragile or becoming overly sensitive to the pressure of the blood flow through the vessel. And as a result of that, the more plaquing that occurs, the narrower the vessel becomes, the greater the increase in pressure inside the vessel, and thus the greater the risk for cardiovascular disease. One other related factor that's frequently overlooked is why does the cholesterol become elevated in response to this acidic burden? Why is the acidic burden there to begin with? And so the reality of the situation is that cholesterol may not be a risk factor for cardiovascular disease at all in and of itself, but it may be an effect of an underlying cause, such as the increased acidic burden that results from dietary indiscretions or excess stresses in an individual's life, or from the fact that that individual is dissatisfied with their job and dissatisfied with their life to the extent that all of these other biochemical balances begin to be produced, and that individual then begins to make choices based on that dissatisfaction that they feel with the job or with their own personal lives. And as a result of those choices, the cholesterol is increased in response to the acid that's produced as a result of the choices that are made in terms of lack of exercise, increased alcohol consumption, smoking, dietary indiscretions, or inability to manage stress. Now, I'm not saying that this is the one and only reason, but I'm saying that it's extremely probable and highly possible that this is a true underlying cause of the phenomenon that we know as elevated cholesterol. This is Dr. Richard Dicenso. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to exploring a new way of thinking with you again in the near future.